Well, I did come back to the model table last night. And yeah, you can see we got our ladders that we need here for step 61. Now, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to be leaving, excuse me, to take my car in for servicing. So I do not know how today is going to go. I know how it's going right now, and I know how it went last night, which we are going to roll back to, but I don't know how the rest of the day is going to go. So we'll just have to see. In the meantime, let's roll back and see what happened last night. I thought I'd better come back to the model table this evening. And the reason being is because I wanted to get at least some footage for episode 916. Because tomorrow morning, very early, in fact I think the appointment is for 7:15 in the morning, I have to take my car in for servicing. A couple of important things that, factory recall stuff that I've been putting off. And even Subaru has a factory recall. It wasn't anything that I felt was really important, so I just kept putting it off. And they keep after me and phoning and sending emails and stuff like that. So finally I made the appointment. Now that I've had both my COVID shots, I feel a little bit more comfortable about it. Anyway, as you can see, I did get the second one on. I'll put the macro lens on and we'll have a nice close look here. Now, I don't know why it is that I do this, and by this I mean show these things so terribly close up with the macro lens. This actually looked pretty good when we were a few inches away. Now, the good news is, that's the way we're going to be looking at it, a few inches, or maybe even arm's length. Okay, gluing on these little hooks, the C24s, that wraps up step 60. 61, looks like a couple of ladders, or is it just one ladder? No, it says make two. So we make two. And then for step 62, it appears that all we do is put things in place that we've been making over the last, it seems like years, but it's probably not. Yeah. Okay, these ladders are these, the funnels we made. These, this is interesting. Notice how you can see that this is not at 90 degrees. It's up a bit. Okay, so I'm feeling better now. It's pretty obvious if you look at this picture that it's not 90 degrees like it appears here. Okay, let's make our ladders. I'm coming at this from a different angle than what I'm used to. No, this is the angle that I'm used to coming at. Well, I want to call it an evening here, folks. Starting to get tired. And we'll come back at this tomorrow. We'll bend our ladders. All being well. So we'll see you tomorrow. Well, it's morning, and obviously I'm back. Yeah, it's actually went better than I thought it was going to. My appointment was for 7:15. I got there about 5 after 7, went in. I was the only one there, at least the only customer, that is. And turns out the technicians, or whatever they call themselves now, weren't coming in till 8 o'clock. And I was thinking, I should ask, well, if they don't get in till 8, why did you have me come in at 7:15? But I figured, I'm probably already going to ask enough dumb old man questions that I'm going to aggravate them already, so I didn't ask that. But I sure thought it. Anyway, I said, how long is this going to be? And the service person said, probably about 11 o'clock or so. And I said, oh, and I was saying something about the fact that I hadn't had my oil changed for a couple of years. Now, really, that sounds like a long time, but when you don't drive your car, it really doesn't make that much difference. So anyway, I said, okay, we talked about the oil change, and then I said, no, I'll come in again some other time. But the funny part was that I actually wanted to tell you here that the reason why we're having this conversation is because when they had originally phoned me about, and by the way, I'm not complaining here. I'm happy with Subaru. I'm very happy with Subaru. I love the car. I really love the car. I've had it for just over 4 years now. Bought it brand new. It only had 3 kilometers on it when I bought it. I mean, it was that new. Must have been driving it from the factory to the boat, and then from the boat to the car carrier, and then off the car carrier to the dealership. I mean, that must have been like 3 kilometers. That's all it had. Anyway, where am I going with this? Okay, so 3 weeks ago when they called me again, and I said, and I finally gave in and said, okay, I'll come in now, because I knew I'd had my COVID shots, and as I mentioned yesterday, I was feeling a little bit better about it. They said, we'll have a courtesy car here for you. And so when the service people were filling in the form and everything for me to fill, and they took my driver's license, and then they wanted to swipe my credit card, and I said, well, what's the credit card for? And she says, well, it's in case you get a ticket or something like that, and it could be, like with photo radar or something, I could go speeding with their car and then they get charged. I mean, that all makes sense. But the funny part is, and here's where I'm going with this. When it actually came down to it, I got really uptight. And they were going to give me a Subaru Legacy to drive, which is a pretty nice car. I wouldn't mind. I was thinking of, before I bought the Forester, I was thinking about the Legacy. And I was thinking, it would have been kind of fun to see how it handled and stuff like that. But I got really uptight. And I said, you know what, I'll wait. And so I did. I just sat there in the waiting area and kind of dozed off. And, in between the fact that my water pill that I took at 5 o'clock this morning had kicked in pretty good. And, I had to do something about that a couple of times. But, otherwise it went pretty good. And around 10 o'clock, they called me and they were done. And I'm thinking, oh, well, that was faster than I expected. And so I said something to the effect, well, I'm sorry now that I didn't arrange to get my oil changed. The service manager says we can do it right now. So I got my oil changed and some other stuff. So that's what this receipt is for. Anyway, what the factory recall was, in case somebody's interested, and I'm sure you are. If you're interested in making model ships, you're interested in what could go wrong with a car, right? Okay. So with the Subaru Forester, they were having a problem with the air conditioner condenser getting corrosion. So they replaced that. And I know they did something because my air conditioner hasn't worked all summer, and now it's working. So that was a bonus. It might have had, the corrosion thing could have had something to do with the fact that the air conditioner quit. I put it down to the fact that because I wasn't driving my car, the seal on the shaft on the compressor was drying out, and the Freon, or whatever they call it nowadays, it leaked out. I'd heard about that sort of thing happening. If you don't use your air conditioner, the compressor, that is, the Freon will leak out the shaft if the seal dries out. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. It makes for a good story anyway. Okay. The other problem that they fixed was factory recall. They did two things today. And the other problem was they changed something to do with the passenger side seat airbag harness switch. Something to do with the passenger. And that was why I wasn't too concerned about it. I don't carry anybody in my car. I'm the only one. So I didn't care if the passenger side airbag switch wasn't working. There's nobody there anyway. My main worry is that those stupid airbags don't go off when they're not supposed to. I mean, wouldn't that give you a bit of a jolt? Literally. Anyway, yeah. So we're back. We're done. It's 5 after 11, and I've got everything. I'm good for the winter. Let's get on with the get Andy's photo etch bender going here and bend these ladders. And thanks for listening to this old man ramble. Okay, we have done this before. And I'll try not to repeat myself too much here, except for the fact that if we turn this over, you will notice that on this side, there are what I call the detents. In other words, there's a bit of a groove where you're supposed to do the bend, and the groove is on this side. And just in case there's somebody that, hasn't heard me say this before, I find that if you bend towards the groove, the part ends up looking a little better. Okay? Now, I think I may have it a little bit too much shoved in underneath the bar here. I'm going to recompose and pull it back out, and then I'll explain why it is that it's not a good idea to have it too far in. Okay, I realize that it kind of looks like it's right, but actually it isn't. Well, maybe this end is right there, but this end is too far in underneath the bar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out just a little bit. And the reason being is that, okay, I think it looks just about right now. Okay, now you can see it better than I can. Actually, when I'm looking straight down, right along the edge of the nose of this bar that I'm touching right now, if I can just see this stringer here, then I know I've got it right. I'm probably going to more of an effort here than I need to. Now I'm going to clamp it down. Now, the reason you don't want it too far in is because when you bend it up, and when the tread hits the nose of the bar, it's going to pull away and if it does, it'll break the connection. Now, to be honest with you, I've never actually had that happen. But that's probably because I was aware of what could happen. And so, yeah. Now, that's just my unexpert opinion, but I think I'm probably pretty close there. Okay, now we're only going to go up about, that far. No use going any further than we have to. All right, we'll take it out. Turn it around. And we'll do the other side the same way. Now remember, it doesn't have to be in, I think that's far enough. It could possibly go a little further, but I think that's probably pretty good. Okay. All right, let's take that out and take a look at it. Now I know that it should be closed up just a little bit more, but we will do that after we bend our treads. Now, for bending the treads, I remember one time I bent the treads the wrong way. Now, fortunately, it was on a ladder that really didn't matter if it was the right way or the wrong way, because nobody could see it anyway. But let's try and get the treads the right way. Now, somebody was suggesting that if you start at the top tread and work your way down, there's less chance of catching the treads with the end of the tweezer. But I concluded that it doesn't matter which end you start with, you still risk catching. So you just have to just watch, okay? And I'm going to try and do it so that you can see it here. Now, I know you can't when I got my big ugly fingers in the road, but this is something that is actually easier to do off camera. So we just want to make sure that you only catch one tread at a time, and then just go up like this, about a 45-degree angle or a little better. Okay, and then we try and get the next one. Now it's pretty hard to do this on camera, so you're just going to have to, unless I was to lay it on its side. Let's see what would happen if I laid it on its side and I could come in like this. And I could do it on camera. Sorry about my fingers. Okay, so you go in and you get the, come on. Maybe if I use Mr. T's poking device here to hold it down. Can I get it in there, or is it too big? That's too big. I'm going to have to do this off camera. Okay, you know what? I think maybe I can do it like this. If I use the blade, I can still get the tweezer in there. At least I think I can. And you have to be careful not to accidentally catch two stairs like that. Okay? I know I'm probably preaching to the choir, right? A lot of people that are watching me, and I don't know why, they are much more experienced than I am. And the last one. All right. Now this is actually going to look like a little ladder. See? I could have possibly bent them just slightly more, but the idea is just to have the illusion of being bent. I mean, nobody's going to be looking at these ladders with a microscope and say, oh, the tread should be bent just a little bit more. The idea is that you just have to think that they're bent. Okay, now we can just close this up just a little bit here. Like that. And it's ready for painting. Now, I quickly went ahead and made the other one up. And I can honestly say that probably the entire operation only took about a minute. First of all, I knew what I was going to do. but most importantly, I wasn't trying to video it, in which case I was able to hold everything just exactly right to make it easy for myself. Now, one of the viewers made a comment, and I'm really glad he made that comment, and it went something like this. You're having so much trouble, it's kind of discouraging me from wanting to build. No, that's not exactly what he said, but that's sort of the feeling. And yeah, sometimes I do have quite a bit of trouble, like trying to glue those tiny little hooks onto something. I do have quite a time, I'll admit, but that's me. It doesn't mean that you're going to have trouble like that. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that if you really want to enjoy doing this, don't video it. Now, for me, videoing is just part of what I like to do. So that's why I do video it. Otherwise, I'd just go ahead and build and have fun. So, for goodness sakes, don't let my inept way of doing things discourage you from wanting to try something like this. Because it is a lot of fun. I mean, we're going on now 2.5, 3 years in this model ship series, and I'm still having fun. I have to admit I am not enjoying the spraying like I thought I would, and we're going to have to maybe start that tomorrow, because there's a lot of parts that like this, for instance, these ladders, they have to be sprayed. Which reminds me, I just all of a sudden realized I haven't ordered my paint yet. Oh boy. Okay, we are done with 61. I kind of like it when something rhymes like that. One of the viewers used to rhyme his comments, and one day he gave me a comment in rhyme that said something to the effect of, well, it's been fun, but he was done, or something like that. Yeah, and then I think he made 1 or 2 more comments after that, and never heard from him again. But, you know, that's the way it goes. Anyway, for 62, as I mentioned, we got to paint a lot of this stuff. Now, some of it already is painted. Like I think this piece here is done. I can't remember. Did we paint the funnels? I think we did. Yeah, I think the funnels are painted. You know, sometimes when I'm thinking about the Bismarck and this one, I can't remember. Now, did I do that on the Bismarck already, or did I do it on this one? Anyway, we'll look into that. But you know, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go through my paints again and find out what I need. And it could be that Eliminator here in Winnipeg will have what I need, in which case I can order it online today and then go and pick it up tomorrow. If the weather's nice, that is. I don't like driving when the weather's messy. And if it's nice, you know what? I'll put the dash cam on and I'll take you to the hobby store. But no promises on that. A lot depends on the weather and how I feel in the morning. Speaking of the morning, thanks for watching here, everybody. And all being well, we'll see you in the morning.